Chapter 1041, 1041 Shiyu creates the world, 1. 1041 Shiyu creates the world, 1. When Senior Lu arrived, Shiyu received her warmly. He directly got baby ginseng and Ling to prepare a big meal and the banquet started. As for why there was also Ling, as a mechanical pet, since even a difficult form like a mecha could change, then the form of the electric rice pot and the form of the microwave would definitely be out of the question. The all-purpose mechanical pet. Wu. At the same time, 11, Buggy, Kai Tong, Susu, Chi, Little Purple, and the others were also called out by Shiyu. On Senior Lu's side, the Green Phoenix, the Empress Flower, the Courtyard Sprite, the Mermaid Princess, and the Hurricane Demon were also summoned. This wasn't the first time the dozen or so pets had met. They reunited after a long time and immediately started a social event. Lord Green Dragon. Senior Lu's Mermaid Princess also had a dragon element bloodline. In addition, she had seen the world competition and worshipped Buggy very much. As soon as she came out, she looked up at Buggy sleeping on the tree, but Buggy ignored her. Wu, there's everything in dreams, Buggy said. Although the Mermaid Princess was very beautiful, it was not interested in dragons. If this Mermaid Princess came to chat with it, it was better to find Shiyu. Shiyu definitely liked her. After all, according to what Buggy knew, humanoid creatures grew in Shiyu's aesthetic taste. Are you Chi? Senior Lu's Courtyard Sprite saw that the Chi it had seen in Courtyard previously had become as tall as a big Coke bottle and had a blank expression. At this moment, Chi was floating in the air with the help of the wind element. She still looked the same. Her loose pink ponytail hung on her shoulder, and a strand of hair stood up. She was wearing a silver-white battlesuit with black patterns, a pleated short skirt, and a small white cloak on her back. This was not a problem. The problem was that it was too small and had shrunk a lot compared to before. Multiplication, the Courtyard Sprite asked. Shiyu's pets indeed seemed to like multiplication and shrinking. After all, maintaining his main body's normal state consumed too much energy. However, what was the point of multiplying the elves? Even if the elves maintained their normal state, the consumption was not high. I'm Chi, not multiplication, but it's also related to skills, Chi didn't know how to explain and sighed. In short, I've become smaller, and I can't recover anymore. The Courtyard Sprite was at a loss. Then, it looked at Shiyu, who was chatting with Lu Qingyi, and suspected that there was a problem with Shiyu's cultivation method. It's not because Shiyu isn't. It's because of myself, Chi hurriedly explained. She waved her little hand around, afraid that Shiyu would be misunderstood as having some strange hobby. Space-time travel. It made its arms have to be customized again, like some fruit knife-sized heavenly thunder blade. Roar! On the other side, the Wind Demon Lion ran to 11 to ask how the leader could go from barely defeating itself to defeating a god so quickly. Big boss, take me along. The Green Phoenix ran to Kai Tong in the form of a bird spirit. As a member of the Phoenix race, they had a deep sisterly relationship and threw Susu aside. The Empress Flower stood on the spot arrogantly, her gaze landing on the cooking ginseng baby. It was difficult to imagine that this was the towering emperor who galloped through the world competition. The Hurricane Demon, on the other hand, sized up Little Purple flying in the sky curiously. It had never seen such a pet and asked Susu what it was. Nink. Sea vegetable rice ball, Susu replied. Little Z, Mimi? Most of Shiyu's pets knew Senior Lu's pets, but Little Z, who had joined the team after the World Tournament, had indeed never interacted much with Lu Qingyi's pets. In fact, Lu Qingyi felt that Little G and Ducky were the most normal in Shiyu's team. Them? One is sleeping and leveling up in the mechanical room, and the other is refining the abyss seed in the sea cleansing. They're both in a life and death state, so they're not called, Shiyu said. But Senior, haven't you contracted your 7th pet? Lu Qingyi said, I've been busy cultivating the first team recently. The 7th one is still being considered between the iron-eating beast and the mechanical phantom beast. Then we'll decide after a while, Shiyu said. Yunnan has already appeared. Be it defeating Yunnan or finding a new divine-level fossil, there are better choices. Shiyu suddenly remembered that he still had a single-horned demon's divine stone. Lord Lai Shan had given it to him, but he didn't know when it could wake up. Seriously, if he woke up now, he could at least rely on the mythical race to give him some stats. It wasn't a loss to contract it. If he didn't wake up soon, he would wake up in 7 years. What was the use of it? At that time, he definitely wouldn't lack this bit of feedback. Buzz. As the two of them chatted, suddenly, the sound of law spread. A tempting fragrance suddenly attracted the attention of all the pets. Even Lu Qingyi, who was beside Shiyu, was slightly stunned. Her snow-white neck trembled slightly as she turned around and looked at the wooden table. A ginseng baby was setting up a plate with vine summoned from God knows where. Yi! Dang 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 dang! On the wooden table, fruits and vegetables of various sizes were taken out by baby ginseng. They were extremely tempting. Gulp! Senior Lu's stomach growled unconsciously. Shiyu looked over and instantly made her blush. Has baby ginseng evolved again? Well, after the world tournament ended, baby ginseng completed its evolution with the blessings of the world tree. It's also a mythical race now. The nutrients it creates now are basically equal to top-notch level 8 resources. Senior, you're in for a treat in the next half a month, Shiyu said with a smile. Chapter 1042, 1042 Shiyu creates the world, 2. 1042 Shiyu creates the world, 2. Lu Qingyi said, you said it. Then I won't hold back. Yi! Don't stand on ceremony. It's just a little abandoned. Baby ginseng nodded. It was like this every day. If it weren't for the legendary ruins, Ping Cheng probably wouldn't have lasted more than a few days. Now, baby ginseng was strong and absorbing money. Name a baby ginseng. Race skill. Advanced, time fruit, Dao proficiency. Super, time mark, perfect plus, moon explosion, perfect plus, life fire seed, perfect plus, world tree fruit, perfect plus, green with divine body, perfect plus, sun forest, perfect plus, plant control, perfect plus 36. Quasi-divine, world favor, initiate. In those 2 months of bitter cultivation, baby ginseng's skills had almost been fused by Shiyu. The green with divine body that was fused with skills such as source of life, heart of the earth, slow healing, high-speed healing, multiplication, mutation, and deterrence. If the power of faith of the green dragon was excluded, its recovery ability far exceeded the green dragon indestructible body. It was also because of this physique that it was even more tempting now. At the same time, this physique was extremely close to the natural power of earth plants, and it had the effect of adapting to mutations. It could be seen as a super evolution skill, but now that it was already a mythical race, it was definitely even more harsh on evolution resources. After plant control fused with sweet aura, nutritional supplements, energy fruits, lushness, and other skills, it also officially turned into a racial skill. At the moment, apart from super alloy and soul incarnation, it was a super skill with 3rd proficiency in Shiyu's team. The sun forest was a domain skill. The fusion of the energy storage beam, clear sky, for symbol star formation, clone, and other skills allowed baby ginseng to create the sun tree forest that controlled the power of the sun. This forest could be seen as a sunlight domain. It could be used in battle, assisted in moon explosion, and could also be used as a cultivation holy land. Baby ginseng used all its might to create a sun forest. Relying on natural sunlight, as long as it was used in moderation, it was not a problem to form an almost eternal cultivation holy land. Even if monarch-level fire element and light element pets lived in it, there would be huge benefits. In addition, although the small skills had fused, they didn't completely disappear. Baby ginseng still retained their usage EXP. Under the strengthening of the world, top-notch nutritional fruits and vegetables appeared on the dining table. There was also the most precious world tree fruit. This was the main thing. I'm starting. Raw. After Senior Lu temporarily stayed with Shiyu began to help Senior Lu develop mental resonance and also let her pet participate in 11 and the others' special training. This participation made Senior Lu's pets wish they were dead. Eaglesnoff 1-0. Even the divine trial in the World Tournament wasn't that cruel. Of course, the time he spent with Senior Lu was only a small number after all. Most of the time, Shiyu was still cultivating alone. Back then, Shiyu was either meditating to recover his restoration state or trying to modify his beast-taming space. Now, Shiyu's first beast-taming space had almost been modified by him. On one hand, it relied on the resources of the outside world, and on the other hand, it relied on the power of the pet to modify it. At that moment, his first beast-taming space was divided into 6 areas. 11 was in the Thunder Sea Bamboo Forest where the thunderstorm and the bamboo forest coexisted. The Cosmic Meteorite Group with rich cosmic power where Buggy could live on asteroids. The Forest of Life that Baby Ginseng was in contained more than 1,000 plants. The Sun Sword Domain Kai Tong was in. This place was born in the Sun Forest, but the trees had been cut into the shape of swords by Kai Tong. In the Sea of Purification where Susu was, as well as the Sky City where Ling was, there were 6 pets and 6 areas. Under normal circumstances, they couldn't interfere with each other. As for Little Purple, it was a baby that had yet to be weaned. It just had to be led by Ling obediently. Here, although they couldn't let 11 and the others undergo too exaggerated special training, because of the blessing of the World Tree, resting in the beast-taming space was actually far better than special training in the legendary ruins. Among them, the materials to modify the beast-taming space were naturally applied from Dong Huang. Shiyu applied for a pile of rare materials that were expensive. Apart from that, he applied for more. For example, Dong Huang, including the green dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise faith items of the surrounding countries, was also getting someone to help collect them and store them in the ancient capital museum first. These things were all equipment that could increase the strength of enhancing Buggy. When necessary, they could be taken out as life-saving equipment. They had to be controlled. Of course, Shiyu felt that this alone was not enough. After all, a hard battle might consume many faith items. Apart from Dong Huang and Dragon Palace City helping him promote the power of faith, Shiyu felt that he had to think of a way. Therefore, Shiyu also obtained a large number of resources and began to nurture Little Purple. He finally started to nurture Little Purple. For the past few days, the seaweed rice ball Susu mentioned had been lying in Shiyu's hand every day. The resources it used were relatively normal. Earth Element Energy Crystal, Wood Element Energy Crystal, Water Element Energy Crystal. Previously, Little Z only ate spatial crystals. After eating it, it only cared about expanding the size and strength of the inner world. Now, the area of its inner world at the commander rank had almost reached 100,000 square kilometers, far larger than the spatial pocket of the Overlord level Buggy, Susu's Infinite Devour space, and Ling's mechanical space. Chapter 1043, 1043 Shiyu creates the world, 3. 1043 Shiyu creates the world, 3. However, although the space in Little Z's body was ridiculously large, because it had yet to be modified, it was still empty. There was nothing. And Shiyu's so-called cultivation was naturally to start helping it create the world in its body. There were only 2 ways to create. First, Little Purple slowly modified its inner world through eating food and using the nutrition of the food. Second, allowing other lives to enter the inner world, introduced foreign species, and used their power to modify the inner world. In fact, the second method was the fastest. If Shiyu let 11 and the others enter Little Purple's body, it probably wouldn't be long before he could create a normal world where mountains and rivers flowed and the sun and moon changed. However, Little Purple was too weak at the moment, and 11 and the others' levels were too high. Just like how those top-notch gods couldn't be on Blue Planet and high-level beasts couldn't be in a low-level beast-taming space, the world space would collapse. Therefore, at the moment, Little Z could only build the basics of the inner world with the support of Shiyu and the others. Of course, this method was not slow either, because Shiyu's physical control talent could also be used on pets. Therefore, not only was Little Purple creating the world itself, but Shiyu was also supporting it together. This could allow Little Purple to achieve twice the result with half the effort. With the experience of modifying the Ruins Mystic Realm and the beast-taming space as the foundation, it was still easy for Shiyu to help Little Z build an ordinary world that didn't contain the power of laws. Sun and Moon. In Shiyu's hand, the cat-eared white ball of the purple nebula seriously created the phantom of the sun and moon through the sun fruit and moon fruit created by the ginseng baby. Galaxy. The radiant moon and radiant sun were in a vast sea of stars. Little Z didn't refuse anyone. It wanted to eat meteorites and cosmic strange water. Earth. Wood. Jianghe. Through eating the energy crystals of various elements, the earth vein in Little Purple's inner world also contained a huge amount of natural power. With Shiyu's help, soon, in just a few days, this 100,000 square kilometers small world looked thriving. It was basically no different from the outside world. However, Shiyu understood that these were all fake. For example, the sun and moon hanging in the sky were all illusory items condensed from energy. For example, the seemingly vast starry sky was actually a background. It looked vast, but everything was actually locked in a small space. As for these lands, plants, and rivers, they looked extremely prosperous at the moment, but they were also built on the condition that Little Purple constantly replenished the corresponding nutrition. Only then could they function normally and have extremely short lifespans. Once the energy was exhausted and not replenished in time, the so-called planetary resources would dry up and the lifespan of the world would reach the end. Compared to those real planetary life forms with lifespans of billions of years and could even rely on the stable laws formed by the internal world to delay life, Little Z still had a long way to go. However, this was too far away, and Shiyu and the others couldn't come into contact with it for the time being. The current level was more or less enough. The reason why he wanted to help Little Z build the basic world now was also for more power of faith. Shiyu planned to create a divine kingdom world. Let the lives here mainly cultivate the power of faith. Every life form could awaken totems in their minds after their mental strength took shape. Visualizing and believing in totems could subtly change one's strength and obtain transcendent power. There were strong and weak totems, but it mainly depended on whether they were compatible with him. With Shiyu's current strength, it was naturally not difficult to replicate this system. Totem visualization was one of the cultivation systems in this world that Shiyu had already confirmed. The goal was to increase the strength of Enhancement Buggy and the others. Although the life forms that could be contained in Little Z's body were far inferior to Blue Planet and Dong Huang in terms of strength and numbers, building a divine kingdom with Little Z was really the only choice. After all, as a normal human country, Dong Huang wouldn't let ordinary people, beast tamers, and transcendent lives mainly cultivate the power of faith on a large scale. It wouldn't let divine power override the law, so Shiyu naturally couldn't do anything. And if he went to the totem country to steal the country, he would have to face the risk of the joint condemnation of the various totem countries. Most importantly, it was too troublesome and difficult to change the faith of the totem country. It was not something that could be done overnight. On the contrary, Little Z's inner world could be used by Shiyu. The greatest characteristic of Little Purple's inner world was that it could accelerate the flow of time in the world by eating time element resources. As long as there were enough resources, it might have only been a year on Blue Planet, but 100 years had passed in the world in its body. The power of faith that could be accumulated for Shiyu in 100 years was far inferior to a year in the outside world. This was the speciality of it as a son of the stars and a planetary life form. When Little Purple's skill proficiency was high enough, when the world gave birth to a complete time law, Little Purple could also adjust the time flow in its inner world without the help of external resources. Chapter 1044, 1044 Shiyu creates the world, 4. 1044 Shiyu creates the world, 4. For Shiyu, who couldn't bear to use the power of faith, it was clearly the most cost-effective to nurture faith himself. As for more complicated worlds, such as the 6 paths of reincarnation mechanism, the 3 realms of heaven, earth, and man, they were not something Shiyu and the others could create at the moment. They could only use trickery to add some vitality to this world first. Let's call this continent Star Continent first. Shiyu said. Am I? Little Z agreed. Next, in order to accelerate the evolution of the star continent, Shiyu and the others began to create life. Be it normal animals or ordinary humans, there had to be them here. Shiyu and the others' method of creating life definitely couldn't let them directly capture a portion of it from Blue Planet and throw it into the star continent. Firstly, there were too many needs, and it was easy to destroy the ecology of Blue Planet. Secondly, it was too troublesome. For example, humans on Blue Planet. After a long evolution, the beast-taming Strex system had already been engraved in their bloodlines. It was already very difficult to change it. It was not something Little Z could do. Humans with beast-taming talents would definitely go astray in the evolution direction of the world. Therefore, Shiyu and the others chose to learn from Nuwa. Build it himself. It didn't rely on birthing. It relied on making. In the myths, Nuwa used mud to create humans, and Shiyu and the others used a similar method. Through Buggy's power of imagination. First, he would let Buggy pinch enough animals and humans in the legendary ruins. Then, Shiyu and the others would send them into the star continent. This method had the greatest problem. At the moment, Buggy's power of imagination had yet to cultivate a nomological divine skill, so it couldn't really turn illusion into reality and create life out of thin air. Therefore, the illusions it created weren't real individuals. They couldn't provide the power of faith. If he wanted to change this, he had to let these illusions really develop self-awareness, break free from Buggy's restraints, and complete new evolution. Just like mechanical phantom beasts like Little G, after becoming a mechanical life form, it was no longer under Buggy's control. It was a new individual. And this would have to be done by Little Z. Back then, a top-notch god named Goddess WA brought humans to Blue Planet. The World Tree used these humans as the template core and created native Blue Planet humans who had mastered the power of beast taming. At this moment, the dragon god of creation named Green Dragon brought humans into the star continent. As the will of the world, Little Purple could also rely on the power of the world to modify these life phantoms into native life forms by eating soul crystals, spirit crystals, life crystals, and other resources. Of course, the premise was that the essence of these illusions was normal life forms. Buggy only created illusions of normal animals and ordinary humans. It wasn't difficult for Little Purple to modify them through the power of the world. However, if Shiyu and the others were too arrogant and created Ultraman and Sares, they would definitely not be able to modify them. M.I. In almost a few days, countless animals and humans moved on the star continent with ignorant understanding of the world. At this moment, Little Z's inner world didn't have extraordinary power. Shiyu was not in a hurry to activate the transcendent evolution of this world. After all, the compatibility between these lives and their natives was still too low. There were too few of them, and their intelligence was not high. It still needed to reproduce and evolve again to gradually integrate into the star continent. By eating the fake god skill time fruit created by baby ginseng, Little Purple increased the speed of the star continent. During the day, Shiyu and the others trained Senior Lu. At night, Shiyu and the others observed the changes in the new world. Just like that, half a month of Shiyu's recuperation quickly passed. Because the evolution direction was different, the wild beasts obtained powerful strength, while the barbarians were relatively weak. They also developed the intelligence to rely on fire and arms to fight the wild beasts. Both parties were evenly matched and evolved with each other. They developed well. Seeing this, Shiyu felt that it was time. It was night. Star continent. All life looked at the shining starry sky. A sudden meteor shower descended at lightning speed. Countless meteorites fell from the starry sky to the ground and ocean. These meteorites didn't seem to have caused any damage to the ground, but they shattered the natural power contained in the entire world. An extraordinary power suddenly appeared in the minds of countless lives who came into contact with the meteorite. A green dragon appeared in the minds of some humans, a white tiger in the minds of some wild beasts, a vermilion bird in the minds of some birds, and a black tortoise in the minds of some sea beasts. These spirit totems carried strong divine might, making these lives have the mood to submit. Some lives that regarded them as gods quickly discovered the transcendent changes produced by visualizing the bodies of these totems. On this day, a new era began in the star continent. Future generations would call it the mythical era. The entire star continent began the Great Cultivation Era. With Little Z's current strength, no matter how they cultivate or what methods they use, there's very little hope of their levels exceeding the transcendent level. The higher you go, the harder it is to. It's just like how no life form on Blue Planet can reach the divine level. However, there are people on Blue Planet who can break through the restraints of the planet and head to the starry sky. Little Z, Ling, do you think a super genius might appear in this star continent in the future, break through the world restrictions, and ascend in front of us? On the bed, Shiyu held Little Z and said to Ling, who was in charge of deducing the world beside him. Chapter 1045, 1045 Earth and Ocean Overlord, 1. 1045 Earth and Ocean Overlord, 1. Alliance Calendar, Year 180. It had been 3 years since Shiyu became a beast tamer. Moreover, he was still charging at the higher legendary domain and divine realm. He originally estimated that the former would take another 2 years, while the latter might take 7 years. Pingcheng, Garden Villa area. A blue psychic flew over, and the fridge door automatically opened. A bottle of frost flew into Shiyu's hand. Just as he completed the meditation cultivation in the second space, Shiyu yawned in a daze. His second beast-taming space had already reached level 6. His improvement was very fast, and he was about to catch up to the level of the first beast-taming space. In the second team, the ones with the fastest battle power progress were undoubtedly Little G and Ducky. In half a month, with Ling's help, Little G had already evolved into a land overlord of a quasi-mythical race through fusing with the Earth Divine Dragon fossil. As for the duck, with Susu's help, it evolved into an ocean overlord of a quasi-mythical race. Shiyu preferred to call it the Sea-Cleansing Demon Duck. Because they were both new breeds, the racial names naturally followed Little G and Ducky's joy. The two went against each other, each taking the racial names of Land Overlord and Ocean Overlord. Now, Shiyu's half-eliminated legendary ruin space had already become a battlefield for Little G and Ducky. The terrain had almost been reconstructed by them. Due to the lead of evolution and divine level resources, their growth level had also reached the Overlord level. They had the ability to change nature. Although Shiyu's second space was only level 6, he didn't let them deliberately suppress their levels. After all, in his current situation, Little G and Ducky's breakthrough was no longer a contract above their level. It could completely withstand it, and the benefits of the feedback were even greater than the consumption. Quack! Shiyu only took a glance at the legendary ruins and saw an ocean. There was also a huge black duck 5 meters tall with dark blue patterns standing on the tsunami and surfing. On its neck, the pure golden blue water that was like cleansing water froze like a ribbon, becoming a scarf-like part that floated behind it in an extremely domineering manner. The rain fell drop by drop like bullets, strengthening the huge tsunami. This way, it could also better control the power of the abyss and not lose itself. However, compared to the sea-cleansing demon duck, the duck preferred to call itself an ocean overlord. Name, Ducky, race, ocean overlord. Stats, water, dark. Race level, high-level overlord, quasi-mythical. Growth level, overlord level. Race skill. Intermediate, water blade, transcendent plus, heart strike, transcendent plus. High level, heart sword, expert plus, deterrence, expert plus. Super, demon vanquishing pestle, expert plus, abyss liberation, proficient, death vortex, proficient, dark sky wave rain, proficient. Teaching skill. Intermediate, purification, Dao proficiency. High level, wave sword, expert plus. Energy points, 71.1 million. The newly awakened dark sky wave rain indeed gave it the qualifications to become the overlord of the sea. A storm summon instantly drowned the continent. For this reason, in order to protect its territory, Little G had already fought Ducky in the legendary ruins for a day and night. If Ducky became stronger, little G would as well. At this moment, although the land was submerged by the sea, magma rose wherever it stepped. Soon, a new land was formed and they faced each other head-on. Roar! At this moment, on the originally Earth dragon-like body, little G's appearance also changed. Many cracks that looked like dry land appeared on its skin. In the cracks, the power of magma swam. It was this power that resisted the duck's attack. Name, little G, race, mechanical beast, land overlord. Stats, machinery, dragon, earth, fire. Race level, high level overlord, quasi-mythical. Growth level, overlord level. Race skill. Intermediate, basic intelligence, expert plus. Advanced, space-splitting sword, expert plus, dragon breath, expert plus, deterrence, perfect plus, clear sky, proficient. Super, earth domain, expert plus, earthquake, expert plus, reverse scale, expert plus, lava explosion, proficient, gravity control, proficient. Teaching skill. Advanced, super heavy sword, expert plus. Energy points, 73,910,000. Because the Earth Divine Dragon fossil was relatively incomplete, it only helped little G awaken skills like lava explosion, clear sky, and gravity control. It was actually alright. As for the divine skill of the Earth Divine Dragon, perhaps it would have to wait for little G to increase the skill proficiency of the mythical revival like Ling before there was a chance of inheriting an awakening. And now, Shiyu had yet to nurture them through adding points. Clearly, quasi-divine skills were still far from little G and the others. It could be said that at the moment, be it little G or Ducky, their potential had yet to be completely unearthed. Little G still had the possibility of awakening a mythical bloodline, and the abyss seed that Ducky ate, as a divine-level resource, clearly had more than this amount of strength. However, it had temporarily turned into potential. Its abyss liberation was a skill to unearth more abyssal power, but when used, it was easy to lose its rationality. It needed to be restricted by skills like purification, diamond staff, heart sword, and so on. Chapter 1046, 1046 Earth and Ocean Overlord, 2. 1046 Earth and Ocean Overlord, 2. After Shiyu and the others' torment, the battle power of the second team's little G and Ducky was considered to have taken shape. Of course, that was for ordinary battles. At the moment, Ducky and little G's strength was basically at the threshold of a top-notch overlord, similar to the green-scaled dragon Shiyu and the others were fighting. This couldn't be helped. After all, their super skill proficiency had yet to increase much. They were even inferior to normal overlords like the Gem Cat previously. They didn't even have perfect proficiency. To have the strength of a top-notch overlord, it relied on using divine-level evolution resources. It relied on other aspects such as physique, energy, life, and resistance to be relatively good. It was considered an overlord with shortcomings. However, the future was promising. When Shiyu had extra energy and began to add points to them, he believed that they would quickly have stronger strength and even compete in the battle of the first team to participate in the battle between gods. Shiyu, are you there? At the stairs, Lu Qingyi walked upstairs. After approaching Shiyu's room, she called out to Shiyu. President Lin just came to inform me to go to the Battle Island tomorrow. It should be the examiner of the Alliance. We're finally here. Battle Island? I'll go with you too, Shiyu said. He wanted to go to another place on the way. Space-time Dragon Vein. He had almost recovered. It was time to start a new round of bitter cultivation. Shiyu didn't plan to cultivate bitterly at Donghuang. Instead, he planned to cultivate in the valleys around the space-time Dragon Vein. Over there, Qi could also use the power of the space-time Dragon Vein to quickly recover the power of space-time travel. This was the main point. Alright, I wonder who the examiner sent by the Alliance is this time. Lu Qingyi was rather nervous. After all, Yixing had failed to challenge titled Battle Pet Warriors twice in a row. Although her strength had improved greatly with Shiyu's help in the past half a month, she still didn't have much confidence. After all, her opponent was at the totem level. Relax, I'll prepare, Shiyu immediately said with a smile. He didn't have much to prepare. He just wanted to inform his pets. At the moment, a few pets were not beside Shiyu. They had all run out to train alone. For example, Buggy ran to the rural areas of various places where people believed in the four holy beasts to absorb the power of faith at a close distance. In addition, it would occasionally appear and give them some good weather. 11 and Susu also ran to the sea. 11 dived into the deep sea to use the pressure of the deep sea bottom to train its sea battle ability, while Susu dived into the sea and absorbed the power of the sea to continue strengthening the sea cleansing spirit. Although it could mobilize the power of the ocean anywhere through the Blue Sea contract, it was definitely the most efficient to mobilize it when it was in the ocean. Activate, long-range call. Shiyu was in Donghuang and had a few pets beside him. His safety was guaranteed, so he let them go out to play in peace. In any case, he had top-notch telepathy. If there were any problems, he could communicate at any time. Even if Buggy had already run to Divine Capital and was ridiculously far from him, Shiyu could still contact it through the online meeting. This was the power of a beast tamer with a high-level telepathy talent. His support ability was top-notch. Of course, the reason why Shiyu could be so fierce was also related to his strong mental strength and mastery of max-level psychic power. The sensing range of other beast tamers of the same level wouldn't be so exaggerated. I say, you guys, it's time to come back. As Shiyu finished speaking. In Divine Capital, a little green worm lying on the green dragon stone statue raised its head and chirped. It just so happened that it was hungry too. Hoo. Home. Ning. Right away, right away. Somewhere in the ocean, Susu immediately replied. Although they were both in the ocean, it wasn't with 11. It was mainly because 11's fighting movements at the bottom of the sea were too big. Even if it only used its body to fight, it was too disturbing. Susu, where are you? Near the Battle Island? In the positioning, Shiyu suddenly realized that Susu seemed to be near the Battle Island. He couldn't help but say, Susu, stay there first. We'll go over later. Ning. All right, tilde, Susu. Battle Island. It was an artificial island. The specially built battle facility was one of the few artificial buildings that Donghuang could withstand the highest battle fluctuations. Here, it could at most withstand the battle fluctuations of top-notch totem-level creatures. Usually, it was a battle venue used by beast tamers of Donghuang to challenge totem-level creatures. Next, the place Shiyu and Lu Qingyi were going to was also here. At this moment, in the sea area heading to the Battle Island, a middle-aged man with a western face, white skin, and blue eyes was standing on a huge ship and looking ahead. The titled Legend of Shenfeng in the Seven Nation Alliance, Fire God Jones. The headquarters of the Seven Nation Alliance was on the Alliance Island. The management members were jointly formed by the beast tamers of the 7 countries. Most of the work was to deal with the affairs of the Totem country, as well as the exploration of ruins, mystic realms, and resource extraction in some public areas. It was the official institution of the 7 countries to the outside world. Every country of the 7 countries had at least one titled legend stationed on the Alliance Island. Large countries like Donghuang, Shenfeng, and Shuiyuan even had 2 titled legends stationed here, and there were many normal legends. Chapter 1047, 1047 Earth and Ocean Overlord, 3. 1047 Earth and Ocean Overlord, 3. Apart from some important things, the Alliance was also in charge of the challenges of legend beast tamers from various countries who wanted titles. Generally speaking, they would let beast tamers from other countries be examiners and bring the guardians of the Alliance to assess the challenger. Shenfeng's Fire God, Jones, clearly became the examiner for Lu Qingyi's assessment this time. Of course, he wasn't in charge of the assessment, but a guardian of his partner. It was a huge green bullfrog more than 10 meters tall, wearing a green leaf cloak. It held a branch in its mouth and narrowed its eyes. The guardian of the Alliance, the Forest King, and the Wood Element Forest Frog race. During the totem battle, in order to not be killed, they relied on one of the guardians of the 7 Nation Alliance. For more than 100 years, they worked with fear and trepidation. What they mainly had to do was to train and assess safe jobs like sparring partners. Apart from work, they spent most of their time in hibernation and sleep. To the Forest King's surprise, after enduring for so long, he had finally become an elder of the Alliance and a senior of the Alliance. His status was extraordinary. Choice was indeed important. I slept for 3 years at once. I'm so hungry. The Forest King looked at the fire god, Jones. Dong Huang should have prepared food, right? It'll be there when we reach the Battle Island. The fire god Jones smiled bitterly and said, "You've already eaten all the food prepared on the ship. The amount of food prepared is clearly the same as usual. When you pick me up next time, prepare more. My strength should have improved again. I feel that my appetite has become bigger and bigger in the past few years." The Forest King looked at the sea. "Can we eat the small fish and prawns here?" Fire God Jones said, "Of course. This isn't the Dragon Palace Sea area, nor has it entered the Dong Huang Sea area. However, small fish and shrimps in such a place aren't very nutritious. Just treat it as a snack." "I'll advance with you in the sea," the Forest King said. With that said, he jumped into the sea with a plop. Seeing this, Fire God Jones shook his head. The ship continued to sail calmly. As for the Forest King, it had already dived to the bottom of the sea and fed itself. Just as the Fire God Jones had said, there were indeed no nutritious creatures in this sea area. Quack! The Forest King sighed. If it could do it again, it didn't want to become a totem-level life form. Although he had become stronger, he had also lost a sense of joy. It was the joy of eating to its heart's content. For a totem creature with neither high nor low strength like it, it was unrealistic to eat well every day. It could only rely on sleep to offset its hunger. It was even hungrier when it attacked. "I have to work again. I have to eat more before I work." But the candidate this time, Jones, just said that it seems to be a level 7 telepathy beast tamer. It hasn't even reached level 8, and it's still telepathy. It should be very easy this time. As he thought about it, the Forest King dived deeper into the sea and searched for transcendent and commander-level sea fish as food. As it ate, the Forest King swam in the direction of Dong Huang's Battle Island with the ship. However, it suddenly realized that the change in the flow of ocean energy in the deeper seabed was a little strange. It was as if there was a greedy devourer devouring the power of the ocean to its heart's content in the depths of the sea. This scene made the Forest King slightly concerned as it swam in the direction of the energy change. Soon, on the dark deep-sea rock, the Forest King saw a cute jelly-like water slime opening its mouth wide and absorbing the sea energy. Wah! Woo! As Susu cleansed the seawater, it absorbed the water element energy into the infinite devour space and strengthened the sea cleansing spirit with the Blue Sea contract. The efficiency was much faster than directly absorbing it at home. Susu also noticed the arrival of the Forest King, but it only glanced at the big frog casually and didn't care much. However, to Susu's surprise, after the big frog saw it, its expression gradually became abnormal. With a croak, it became more and more excited. Strange, why is there a water slime here, but the energy fluctuations are so rich and fragrant? The Forest King directly widened its eyes, wanting to swallow this blue jelly. Fish, worms, water elemental creatures, and plant lives were all its favorite food. Caw! The Forest King leaped up and pounced at Susu. At this moment, Susu was also stunned and revealed a puzzled expression. It wasn't a ginseng baby. But was this guy serious? It was so weak, but it still wanted to eat it. As a blue sea sprite, especially a blue sea sprite that had fused a bunch of new top-notch water element skills. In the deep sea, even 11, baby ginseng, and Kai Tong couldn't defeat it together, it was confident. Chapter 1048, 1048 The Examiner is always the one who's injured. 1048 The Examiner is always the one who's injured. Croak! It had been a long time since the Forest King had seen such clean food. The Forest King still missed the cold jelly-like texture of the water slime. However, the Forest King was actually a little puzzled. It felt that this water slime was not weak. This was very strange. How could a slime be so strong? In the end, the Forest King thought of an explanation himself. It was most likely a lucky person who had accidentally swallowed some natural treasure. This situation was very common. Most low-level pets didn't rely on hard work, but luck to accidentally eat treasures. It was the same. The Forest King didn't expect that it was still so lucky. What was the difference between the water slime in front of it and a natural treasure? "I'll swallow it." The Forest King laughed and stuck out its long tongue. Moreover, its tongue became larger and larger during the passage, wanting to pull the water slime into its mouth. Seeing this, Susu was speechless. It was so embarrassing. What was that green mucus? Ning, Susu frowned. It naturally wouldn't sit back and watch this guy eat it. It directly erupted with energy, and frost surged all over its body. Boom! A shocking ice element energy surged out. When it attacked, the Forest King actually didn't realize the seriousness of the problem. It could sense that Susu's energy fluctuations were very strong, but this perception was wrong. Every pet of Shiyu was often in a shrunken state similar to 11th restrained form in order to preserve its physical strength. This could reduce the body's consumption to a very low level. Therefore, from the perspective of outsiders, if they didn't master any powerful reconnaissance skills to see the origin, it was very difficult to discover Susu's true strength. Although the Forest King was shocked by the strength of Susu's energy, it clearly underestimated its strength. Compared to Susu's original endless power, this was more than a drop in the bucket. A shocking cold current erupted from Susu's body. The Forest King was stunned, and its pupils constricted. Before its brain could react, with a hum, a huge ice cube appeared in the deep sea. Moreover, the power of frost was still spreading, gradually forming an iceberg at the bottom of the sea. In the center of the ice was the totem-level Forest King. Its current expression was still stunned. It seemed to not understand why this water slime suddenly erupted with power several times greater than before. Quas elemental control plus heavenly frost cold energy. After all, the Forest King was wood element. The bottom of the sea was not its home ground. Be it its movements, strength, or mobilization of natural power, they were extremely restricted. However, the totem level was still the totem level. In less than a second, the frozen Forest King's tongue began to vibrate intensely. Right on the heels of that, the vibration wave was transmitted to its entire body, and frog cries came from inside the ice. Ribbit! 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 A super skill shocked everyone. Under the strong vibration of the sound wave, just as Susu froze the Forest King, the huge ice shattered with a bang. As the ice shattered, the Forest King looked at the water slime in shock and understood that this was not an easy guy. With its reaction speed, it actually couldn't dodge the skill just now. Although its power was weak, it was definitely an ice element ultimate move. "Who are you?" The Forest King shouted and gave up on eating Susu, planning to figure out the situation first. However, at this moment, Susu didn't want to stop attacking. What a joke! He directly attacked it and even asked who it was. It wanted to give Shiyu and the others an extra meal today. Catch a bullfrog and make an authentic gluttonous frog with the chili made by the ginseng baby. It was a surprise for the incoming Shiyu and the others. Boom! Before the Forest King could react, the heavenly frost cold energy that was almost certain to hit instantly froze the Forest King again. The strong frostbite corroded the Forest King's body. Ribbit! Under the frog's cry, the ice shattered. The Forest King frog waved its hand, and countless flying leaves that flickered with green fluorescent light attacked Susu. These flying leaves absorbed the water element power, and their speed and attack power became stronger and stronger. They were not obstructed at all in the water and directly cut out a temporarily maintained empty area in the deep sea. Ning! More than 10 flying leaves attacked. Susu was calm and composed. Its figure directly turned into water and fused into the sea. The control of the water element, together with the elementalization, easily fused with the sea, causing this attack to lose its target. Swoosh swoosh swoosh! The bottom of the sea was divided, and countless large cracks appeared. The bottom of the sea was surging. When the Forest King saw the disappearing Susu, it frowned and turned to leave. It knew that fighting a water elemental creature with strong strength in the ocean was unwise. It kicked its legs and wanted to swim back to the sea, but in the next moment, frost power surged, and the Forest King's body was frozen again. At this moment, the Forest King almost cursed. After all, it had already judged that it was an extremely powerful ice element ultimate move. It might involve time. Otherwise, it would be impossible to freeze it every time. However, this water slime actually used such a unique skill 3 times casually as if it didn't need energy. The laws of nature stated one should conserve physical strength and kill in one hit. If there was anything wrong, one should immediately slip away. This was the truth. But at this moment, the Forest King felt that it had encountered a stubborn person who was chasing after it with a big move. The big move was its regular, normal attack. Ribbit! Under the frog's cry, the ice shattered, but at the same time, the water slime appeared above it. Chapter 1049, 1049 The Examiner is always the one who's injured, 2. 1049 The Examiner is always the one who's injured, 2. What made the Forest King's balls hurt was that the other party seemed to have condensed a new big move. 9 blue energy balls circled around this jelly-like water slime. The Forest King sensed shocking ocean fluctuations in every energy ball. Every energy ball seemed to contain the full power of an overlord-level life form. This shocked the Forest King to suspect that this water slime was also a totem life form like him. Otherwise, it was impossible for it to squander energy like this. No, even if it was at the totem level, it was too much. Was there a need to work so hard? Ribbit! Don't go too far. The skin on the Forest King's entire body vibrated, and a shocking sound wave came from his skin. At the same time, the sound wave was filled with green matter. As a wood element life form, using poison was also the Forest King's forte. It immediately mixed toxins into its super sound wave skill, trying to affect the other party's elementalization and ocean environment to restrict the other party. However, the Forest King's current actions were undoubtedly a minefield. Seeing that the Forest King had released green toxins from God knows where, the pupils of the clean freak Susu suddenly constricted, and it was even more angry. Nink! Origin Wave! The 9 blue energy balls floated in front of Susu. It naturally didn't care about the consumption of energy. With the Blue Sea contract, it had endless energy. Therefore, it directly used the Origin Wave with the greatest power. This skill was fused with super skills such as the Holy Water Ring, Wave Cannon, and Clone. Not only could it slow down the abnormal damage that affected its nature, but it could also use the enemy's negative power to increase its wave power. At the same time, the wave power between each wave ball could also increase and strengthen each other. It could be said to be a rather domineering move. The Origin Wave and the Star Sea body fused from the upgrade of the Starry Sky power were the greatest gains from Susu's skill fusion during this period of time. The former gave it powerful attack methods, while the latter almost turned it into a cosmic life form, one step closer to the Star Sea sprite. Boom! Then, under the stunned expression of the Forest King, his poisonous sound wave hit a few water balls, but although these water balls vibrated extremely violently, they didn't break. Instead, its strength seemed to be slowly increasing. This scene directly made the Forest King panic. The water balls were like vibrating hot kettles, extremely dangerous. Not good, it shouted. Right on the heels of that, all the energy balls shot out white and blue wave pillars that swept towards the Forest King. Under the wave pillar of light, the flowing power of the ocean seemed to have become a help. In an instant, the Forest King felt the pressure of the ocean currents from all directions. At this moment, at the bottom of the sea, one was a totem-level life form that had fallen into an away battle, and the other was an invincible overlord with battle power comparable to a totem level. When the two parties fought, in a short moment, they had already turned the bottom of the sea upside down. The Alliance battleship was slowly driving towards the battle island, while the fire god, Jones, was basking in the sun and enjoying the sea breeze on the splintered chair. Everything was calm. However, at this moment, with a boom, the entire battleship shook violently, almost throwing the fire god Jones off the chair. Damn it, what's going on? The ship shook violently, and countless water splashes flew up from the sea, immediately making the fire god Jones suddenly open his eyes. Lord Fire God, the current in the depths of the sea has undergone a violent change. The energy of the entire sea area has directly transitioned from a stable state to a level, fate-berserking state. A subordinate in a battleship suit immediately came to report. What the hell? The fire god, Jones, was stunned. Did that guy, the Forest King, mess around again? He just ate a small fish and shrimp and caused such a big commotion. Damn it. It's possible. The middle-aged man in the yellow battleship suit said, if this continues, we can't sail normally. It might even cause a tsunami. I'll call Lord Forest King back through the machine. Hurry, hurry, hurry. The fire god Jones had an incomparable headache. They were about to approach the Dong Huang Sea region. This Forest King better not cause trouble. He didn't want to get into trouble because of the problem of eating above. Soon, on the battleship, a mechanic called the Forest King in the depths of the sea through the special communication signal brought by the battleship. The fire god, Jones, came to the edge of the battleship and looked at the violently shaking sea with a frown. In the next moment, his expression froze. In the battleship, everyone also looked over in shock. A huge vortex formed, and an extremely terrifying pressure gradually came from the deep sea. The sky suddenly changed. With a boom, two huge waterspouts rose out of thin air and connected to the sky from the deep sea. Moreover, an incomparably miserable croak came from them. Jones, save me. A slime wants to kill me. Right on the heels of that, under everyone's stunned expressions, the waterspout dissipated from the inside. A huge frog covered in frostbite and its body smashed apart floated in midair with a frightened expression. At this moment, it had already lost one of its forelegs and was frozen in the collapsing water. As for the other waterspout, after it collapsed, it was a water slime. At this moment, it was looking at the huge frog unkindly. Nink! Susu didn't expect this guy to be so timid. It didn't fight it at the bottom of the sea no matter what and wanted to run up no matter what. In that case, as it wished, even on the sea surface, it was still its home ground. Chapter 1050, 1050 It's always the examiner who's injured, 3. 1050 It's always the examiner who's injured, 3. Damn it, what's going on? At that moment, on the Alliance battleship, the titled legend, Fire God Jones, was stunned. He looked at the huge frog that escaped from the bottom of the sea and the water slime floating opposite with a stunned expression. Lord Forest King. On the hull, the beast tamer of the Alliance, who had gone to fetch the Forest King with the fire god, also looked at the Forest King in confusion. Cut the crap. I encountered a ferocious beast at the bottom of the sea. This guy is terrifyingly strong. I've already suffered a fatal injury. Jones, let's attack together. Otherwise, none of us can leave today, the Forest King shouted and looked at Susu fearfully. However, at this moment, Susu's blue eyes had already sensed that something was wrong. It looked at the Alliance battleship and the huge frog calling for help from the Alliance battleship and fell into deep thought. At this moment, when the beast tamers on the Alliance battleship heard the Forest King's shout, they instantly felt as if they were facing a great enemy, including the fire god, Jones. However, they looked at the water slime. It was difficult to imagine that the ferocious beast the Forest King mentioned was this cute thing. What exactly is going on? Fire God Jones summoned his pet while brainstorming. Wait, water slime. Then, the fire god's pupils constricted. How could there be such a strong water slime here? With this doubt, he quickly thought of a rumor. It was said that in the World Tournament, one of the pets of this bat's world legend, Shiyu, was the legendary Blue Sea Sprite. As for the Blue Sea Sprite, its initial form in the World Tournament was a blue water slime. Could it be connected to the fact that this place was relatively close to the Dong Huang Sea? The fire god, Jones, looked at the water slime in disbelief and shouted tentatively, "Wait, wait. Blue Sea Sprite. Are you the Blue Sea Sprite? Legend Xiaoyu's contracted target. We're from the Alliance, not enemies, not enemies. Don't attack. I came to Donghuang this time for the title assessment. Apart from the Blue Sea Sprite, the Fire God Jones really couldn't think of a second water slime that could heavily injure the totem-level Forest King. In the World Tournament, Legend Xiaoyu's iron-eating beast suppressed the gods. The Green Dragon and Baby Ginseng instantly killed the totems. Everyone in the upper echelons of Shenfeng knew. Then it was not strange for the Blue Sea Sprite to have the ability to fight a totem. What the hell? At this moment, seeing that the Fire God Jones was calling it the Blue Sea Sprite and not an enemy, the Forest King was even more shocked. At the same time, it was still thinking about what the Blue Sea Sprite was. As a frog on land, it was only 200 years old and had also missed the world competition. It really didn't understand the Blue Sea Sprite that hadn't appeared in 3,000 years. Ning? Hearing the other party's words, the corners of Susu's mouth curled up. As expected, it was really someone from the Alliance. At that moment, Susu examined the badge of the Alliance battleship and looked at the Fire God Jones, the Forest King, and the Fire God Jones's words echoed in Susu's ears. I came to Donghuang this time for the title assessment. Titled assessment? Susu was silent. Donghuang seemed to really have a legend who wanted to accept the title assessment of the Alliance recently. Lu Qingyi's mermaid princess even helped train for a few days. In other words, not only were these people from the Alliance, but they were also from the Alliance to give Lu Qingyi a title assessment. Susu looked at the big frog. In other words, this guy was Lu Qingyi's examiner? In an instant, Susu had an indescribable emotion. No matter who you are, this guy wanted to eat me just now. I can't let it off easily, Susu said with the telepathy it had learned not long ago. At this moment, Susu didn't admit its identity, but it didn't deny it either. However, with this image and strength in front of it, the beast tamer on the battleship had already confirmed that it was the Blue Sea Sprite. Now, when they heard the Blue Sea Sprite say that the Forest King wanted to eat it, the beast tamers led by the Fire God, Jones, were immediately stunned. What? The Forest King actually wanted to eat the Blue Sea Sprite? How bold was this? What exactly is going on? Jones, help me! The Forest King shouted. His leg hurt slightly, and one of his legs had been broken. If it wanted to recover, it wasn't something that could be solved with some food. Forest King. You wanted to eat Lord Blue Sea Sprite just now. Seeing that the Forest King didn't deny it at all, the Fire God Jones already believed 80 to 90% of it in his heart. After all, the Forest King went into the sea to find food. However, damn it, why did he encounter the Blue Sea Sprite, and it even wanted to eat the Blue Sea Sprite ridiculously? What the hell? How would I know who it is? I don't want to eat it. I just saw it and wanted to spar. The Forest King saw that the Fire God Jones' tone and expression were a little strange and immediately said. The Forest King also knew that it was in the wrong. After all, it was the one who took the initiative to attack first. However, this was clearly not the sea area of Donghuang and the Dragon Palace. Did it kick some iron plate? Lord Blue Sea Sprite, it's a misunderstanding. We're willing to compensate. The Fire God Jones knew that the Blue Sea Sprite's identity was special, and he knew that Xiaoyu's identity was special. He immediately made it clear. Sure. At this moment, Susu also felt bored. It didn't want to argue with them, nor did it want to cause trouble for Xiaoyu. It glanced at the frozen frog leg floating in the water and directly swept it over with water. Susu looked at the huge frog leg and felt that it was enough for Xiaoyu. If it wasn't enough, he would get the other party to compensate a few more. Sustainable food production +1 again. It ignored this group of people and directly wrapped the frog leg before returning to the ocean. Chapter 1051, 1051 It's always the examiner who's injured, 4. 1051 It's always the examiner who's injured, 4. Only the Fire God, Jones, and the others stood silently on the deck, as well as the Forest King, who was shocked and doubtful in midair. As expected of the Blue Sea Sprite that protects the ocean. As expected, it's kind-hearted. It's not angry even if it's attacked. The fire god Jones believed in the legend. My leg, however, looking at Susu, who had swept away the frog's leg, the Forest King's pupils constricted. It wanted its leg to grow back and reattach its broken leg. It was clearly easier for the latter. However, it was taken away by the other party. However, the Forest King didn't dare to ask for it. It was already afraid of the short confrontation just now. Seeing that Susu had really left, the fire god, Jones, suddenly looked at the Forest King and said, "Forest King, look what you've done. What kind of monster is that guy? What exactly is going on? I just want to fill my stomach." "How would I know?" the Forest King said. "Forget it, don't mention this again. Since the Blue Sea Sprite didn't pursue us, we'll negotiate when we reach Dong Huang's Battle Island." The fire god Jones waved his hand, making the Forest King even more puzzled. It felt that Jones seemed to be very afraid of the other party. The Forest King landed on the battleship, already extremely regretful of going into the sea to fish. The creature just now was the Blue Sea Sprite. "Haven't you heard of it?" The Forest King shook his head. "That's true. After all, the last time the Blue Sea Sprite appeared was 3,000 years ago. It also has another name. It's the strongest demigod of the ocean. It's an ocean faith god born from the power of faith of many sea creatures. The countless ocean factions in Dragon Palace City, the Ghost Sea, and the Infinite Sea have all received its favor. Even if there aren't 100 demigods who lost to it, there are dozens." The Forest King's pupils constricted. His heart almost exploded. The one chasing it just now. Impossible. If it was a demigod, I would have long. It's a reincarnation. Even the strongest ocean demigod doesn't have endless lifespan. It needs to rely on continuous reincarnation to maintain its life form. "No, no, no," the Forest King said. "Then who you were asking about just now? What contracted target?" Fire god Jones looked at it and said, "You have to be thankful for that. The Blue Sea Sprite has never looked for beast tamers, but the situation in this generation is a little different. A beast tamer named Shiyu successfully contracted the reincarnation of the Blue Sea Sprite. If it weren't for the fact that his Dong Huang's beast tamer and also a member of the Seven Nation Alliance, it might not have ended so easily just now." The Forest King revealed an incredulous expression again, and the remaining 3 frog legs trembled. "What a joke! You just said that even Dragon Palace City, the Infinite Sea region, and the Ghost Sea have received the favor of the Blue Sea Sprite. Can such a creature acknowledge a human beast tamer? Who is he? A legend of Dong Huang?" The fire god, Jones, shook his head and said, "He's not Dong Huang's legendary beast tamer, but he's indeed a legendary figure in Dong Huang. He's the current authority in the archaeological field of the world. The person who spied on the mythical domain is also the champion of the world tournament more than 3 months ago. You were still sleeping at that time. Unfortunately, I wasn't at the world tournament either, but it said that not only did this Shiyu defeat the revived enfeebled god in Inatella, but he also displayed the strength to instantly kill a totem-level life form. And at that time, he was only a level 6 beast tamer. He hadn't reached the legend level. Tell me, is he a legendary figure?" The fire god Jones looked at the Forest King, completely making. The Forest King opened his mouth wide. It didn't expect such a big thing to happen while he was sleeping. "I still don't believe it. How can a level 6 beast tamer instantly kill a totem? What beast taming talent does he have? Even if he has the enhancement of a divine level beast taming talent, it's impossible. Could it be that his pets are all gods?" King Sen was just about to question it, but suddenly, he recalled the Blue Sea Sprite just now and felt his legs hurt again. Indeed, his pet formation really has a few mythical races. Not only is there the Kirin race of the mythical era, but there's also the Green Dragon God, the Blue Sea God. The Fire God Jones understood the Forest King's mood. When he heard this information, his first thought was that he didn't believe it. However, this was the truth. A monster really appeared in this year's world tournament, making the geniuses of all countries dim. As for his beast-taming talent, although it's only telepathy, you're right. It's said that it's just an ordinary telepathy. It's also developed to the level of a divine-level talent by him. Once his talent is activated, he can trigger the sound of laws like a divine skill and increase the pet's battle power extremely powerfully. In short, this guy is the last person to be provoked. Monster, monster, monster. The Forest King took a step back and didn't dare to go to Dong Huang. After all, he had provoked the other party's pet. Was this Shiyu human? It was fine if he had a bunch of divine pets, but a telepathy talent could also trigger the sound of laws? Wait a minute. The Forest King was suddenly stunned. Is the beast tamer I'm going to take the assessment on this trip to Dong Huang also a telepathy talent? Level 7 could telepathy be the world champion after breaking through? That's not it. It's another beast tamer, but also a member of the Dong Huang World Tournament and an archaeologist. The Fire God Jones reassured the Forest King. However, the Forest King widened its eyes and looked at him. It didn't believe anything. No, no, Jones, my leg hurts. In my state, I might not be able to take the assessment. I want to go home. I seem to be a little unaccustomed to the environment. I have a strange disease that will give me a headache when I go to Dong Huang. You guys change examiners. Fire God Jones, no, you still have to go to Dong Huang with me to apologize. No, you're the one apologizing. The Shenfeng Nation won't take the blame for you. Forest King, GU. Chapter 1052, 1052 Telepathy Talents are Monsters, 1. 1052 Telepathy Talents are Monsters, 1. On the endless sea, a beautiful woman sat on the side of a green phoenix, and a handsome man sat cross-legged on the head of a green dragon. Both parties flew above the clouds. The beauty was Lu Qingyi, and the handsome one was naturally Shiyu. Susu seems to have encountered some trouble, Shiyu said. What's wrong? Lu Qingyi looked puzzled. Lu Qingyi also knew that Shiyu had raised his pets outside to let them train on their own. Could something have happened? Shiyu was really magnanimous. The other beast tamers of Dong Huang basically kept their pets in Dong Huang. He was really something else. His pet had already run out of the Dong Huang Sea region. It's not a big problem. Shiyu had a strange expression. Nink. Nink. As they flew, they had already been above the sea for a long time. As the mental connection approached, Shiyu and the others lowered their flying height slightly. A water pillar shot into the sky. Susu lay on the water pillar and flew into the sky. Susu, Lu Qingyi shouted. Ju! Tilda Lu Qingyi's green phoenix also shouted. They all looked at Susu in confusion, like the huge frozen frog leg beside it. Sorry for the wait. After meeting Susu, Shiyu also looked at the frog leg immediately and fell silent. What's this? Spoils of war? At this moment, Lu Qingyi couldn't help but smile when she saw that Susu still had the spoils of war. This frog leg looked very plump and relatively huge. Because it was frozen by the heavenly frost cold energy, it was completely locked. Nink. Battle spoils. Susu smugly controlled the crowd control water to condense an icon of swords colliding. NES tilde. Shiyu shrugged and said, a totem-level frog life forms frog leg. Lu Qingyi was stunned. Susu, you encountered a totem? Moreover, it even broke a leg of the totem. Roar. Susu is awesome. Buggy shouted, as expected of you, the strongest demigod in the ocean. To be honest, Shiyu was more at ease with Susu when it went to the sea with 11 to train. Because 11's battle power had decreased in the sea. However, Susu's battle power in the sea was an epic increase. In an underwater battle, even with a quasi-divine skill, 11 shouldn't be able to defeat Susu. After all, at this time, Susu's opponent was facing the power of the entire sea. Nink. The cheeks of the water slime were red. It looked at Lu Qingyi in embarrassment and smiled apologetically. Lu Qingyi, Susu said that it's sorry to accidentally cripple your examiner, Senior. It's treating you to frog legs. Lu Qingyi? The Green Phoenix? Raw? Who? Buggy was also stunned. Lu Qingyi widened her beautiful eyes and was stunned for a moment before concentrating on the frog leg. What did it mean? When the Guardian Examiner of the Alliance went to Dong Huang, he accidentally treated Susu, who was training at the bottom of the sea, as food. In the end, they fought. Shiyu shrugged and said, Susu is still not agile enough. It only lost one of its 4 legs. Nink. The other party runs very quickly, and I can't bear to use the sea cleansing spirit. Susu felt aggrieved. Lu Qingyi opened her mouth slightly and looked at Shiyu and Susu in confusion. Shiyu smiled and said, forget it, forget it. Let's eat this leg first. We've never eaten a totem-level bullfrog. We'll talk about other things when we get to the Battle Island. The one in charge of guarding the Battle Island was Dong Huang's titled legend, Heavenly King Du Ruo. He was a titled legend who was very strong. Having defeated ordinary totems, her beast-taming talent was related to a meteorology, similar to Ji Feng's All Things Affinity. Although it didn't involve as much as Ji Feng's talent, it only had incomparable control over the weather and could cooperate with pets to become the true king of weather. It was precisely because of this talent that Heavenly King Du Ruo rarely had a match in the sky. At this moment, Heavenly King Du Ruo, a woman in her 60s, had already met the examiner from the Alliance. However, to Du Ruo's surprise, the examiner of the Alliance came with a broken leg. Although it was already treating it with all his might, it still didn't look like it could recover quickly. In this world where extraordinary power was everywhere, it wasn't impossible to regrow broken limbs. However, it was definitely more difficult to give an ordinary life form broken limbs to regrow and a totem broken limbs to regrow. The consumption was greater. Ah, it's my fault, it's all my fault. It's a misunderstanding. Ribbit. What was even more unexpected was that after the Alliance's guardian, the Forest King, arrived at Dong Huang Battle Island, he immediately apologized like he was crying. The fire god, Jones, stepped forward and looked at the Heavenly King Du Ruo who received them. Heavenly King Du Ruo, something unexpected happened when he headed to Dong Huang. Did you encounter the enemy? Du Ruo was stunned. That shouldn't be the case. A totem and a titled legend, and they came on a battleship representing the Seven Nation Alliance. Which blind totem dared to attack at this sensitive moment? This when we were heading to Dong Huang, because the Forest King woke up from his sleep and was extremely hungry, he hunted food outside the Dong Huang Sea region. In the end, because of some misunderstanding, he had a conflict with the blue sea sprite of the legend of your country, Shiyu, who was training outside. Heavenly King Du Ruo was stunned again. What? Its injuries were caused by the blue sea sprite. However, because this matter was wronged by the Forest King is willing to bear all the responsibility and apologize to Legend Shiyu. Chapter 1053, 1053 Telepathy Talents are Monsters, 2. 1053 Telepathy Talents are Monsters, 2. At that time, Legend Shiyu wasn't nearby, so I wanted to ask you to contact Legend Shiyu. Ribbit. Ribbit. The Forest King cried. What a sin. It would die on this stomach sooner or later. That Shiyu was not to be trifled with at a glance. He had already killed 2 totems. Heavenly King Du Ruo's expression was complicated, and her expression kept changing. What was going on? That Shiyu? Du Ruo was naturally not unfamiliar with Shiyu. As the core higher-ups of Dong Huang, she had long heard of Shiyu when he first revealed his sharpness. And now, Shiyu had become the genius with the greatest potential in Dong Huang. Unfortunately, she had never seen Shiyu because of her guarding work. She glanced at the miserable state of the Forest King and was stunned. It was really impressive. As expected of the blue sea sprite, it heavily injured a totem without a beast tamer beside it. This is a very serious problem. Heavenly King Du Ruo looked at the Forest King unkindly and said, "We'll contact Legend Shiyu." Sigh. The Forest King and the others sighed. After settling the examiner team from the Alliance, Heavenly King Du Ruo contacted Shi Yu for the first time. The handling of this matter still depended on Shi Yu. However, to Du Ruo's surprise, she received news from Shi Yu that he was heading to the battle island with Lu Qingyi and asked Heavenly King Du Ruo to wait a moment. With Qingyi? Heavenly King Du was stunned. Shi Yu and Lu Qingyi also arrived at the battle island not long after. Heavenly King Du Ruo also personally came to welcome them. Aunt Du Lu Qingyi clearly knew Heavenly King Du Ruo. When she saw him, she greeted him very warmly. Qingyi, there might be some problems with the assessment. We have to delay it. Heavenly King Du Ruo smiled. Shi Yu has already told me. Lu Qingyi smiled helplessly. Legend Shi Yu. Heavenly King Du Ruo also looked at the big boy beside Lu Qingyi, this legendary genius. Aunt Du, you're senior Lu's elder. Just call me Shi Yu said with a smile. All right. Heavenly King Du Ruo smiled and said, I wonder how you plan to deal with this incident, Shi Yu. Shi Yu sighed and said, forget it, let Dong Huang deal with it. I'm not interested in this guy anymore. The meat looks fresh, but not delicious at all. Lu Qingyi said, well, it's all thanks to the heavy materials of the ginseng baby. Shi Yu didn't like the remaining pile at all. Although it was nutritious, the taste wasn't good. He directly packed it up and got Buggy's clone to send it to the gem cat. It saved him the trouble of wasting food. After all, it was totem meat. The gem cat should be able to eat it. Heavenly King Du Ruo? After arriving at the battle island, because the Forest King was heavily injured, Lu Qingyi's title assessment naturally had to be delayed for a few days, waiting for the Forest King to recover. This was just nice. Lu Qingyi didn't have much confidence yet. Now, she had a few days of special training. As for Shi Yu, because this was his first time coming to the battle island, he started to sightsee leisurely. Battle Island was one of Dong Huang's largest battle facilities. Many master-level beast tamers from the 9 first-level cities and second-level cities gathered here to spar and increase their strength. In fact, legend-level beast tamers would occasionally fight here. Shi Yu didn't have any battle needs now, so he didn't join in the fun. He only walked around and ate a few more seafood snacks to make up for the regret of eating the Forest King leg previously. Could it be that the Forest King was poisonous? That shouldn't be the case. Wasn't the black ram also poisonous? After Susu purified it, it was still fragrant, and the taste immediately increased. In the end, it might be because the Forest King was too lazy and pampered. It didn't have the fresh meat of totems like the black ram that worked for the Yin race. While waiting for Senior Lu to challenge, Shi Yu began a new round of points on the battle island. At the moment, the super skills of the 6 pets in the team were all above perfect proficiency. However, most pet super skills had only just reached perfection. On this basis, they didn't add many points. Shi Yu's final additional points plan was to add all the pets to the peak of the Overlord level. This peak didn't mean the battle power of a peak Overlord. It meant that in terms of growth, every pet had reached the extreme of the Overlord level. As everyone knew, one of the ways for Overlords to advance to the totem level was for super skills to reach transcendent proficiency. And now, although 11, Kai Tong, and the others had totem-level battle power, it was obvious that they didn't rely on normal methods. 11 was a quasi-divine skill that relied on quality to exceed super skills. Buggy and Susu relied on faith skills, which was also not the same system as normal super skills. Therefore, they clearly had a lot of room for improvement in the normal system. Next, Shi Yu wanted to fill this upgrade space. Super skills all added points to the extreme proficiency, perfect plus 47. This way, it was 11 and the others' true peak battle power at the Overlord level. At that time, without quasi-divine skills and faith skills, he could fight totems above his level with other super skills alone. This was the trump card of the tyrannical sea legend. In this state, it naturally led their battle power to a new peak. Shi Yu felt that at this stage, all of them should have demigod-level battle power. This stage was where one could go anywhere on Blue Planet. Of course, demigods weren't stupid. They basically had a bunch of underlings. For example, the dragon god had a bunch of totem dragon kings under her. In short, as long as Xiyu didn't encounter two demigods ganging up on him or a demigod bringing all his underlings to gang up on him, there was basically no need to worry. Chapter 1054, 1054 Telepathy Talent, All Monsters, 3. 1054 Telepathy Talent, All Monsters, 3. Peak Overlord Level. This was Xiyu's next stage of adding points. 6 pets, dozens of super skills, 40 super skill points per super skill, more than 1,000 super skill points. If it were in the past, it would take years to add them all. But now, Xiyu felt that it shouldn't be long. After all, his current physique was already extraordinary. Moreover, the support points of every pet had also improved greatly. For example, Kai Tong could strengthen Xiyu's energy through possession. Baby Ginseng was a divine healer, Susu could reduce the burden of adding points through the Sea Cleansing Spirit, and Ling. It wasn't a matter of fusion. Now, Ling was the strongest support in the team. Because it had learned the 9-colored divine light. This support skill that was so strong that it could even strengthen resistance. In the end, only Ling met the teaching conditions. Xiyu originally thought that Baby Ginseng and 11, as light element pets, could almost learn it. However, he was still naive. As the prototype of a divine skill, it had extremely high requirements for the body structure of the pet. In a situation where the entire team didn't meet the teaching conditions, it was still Ling who used its top-notch intelligence to spend a month modifying its light stats and modifying its body structure with the Gem Cat's Gem Eye. Only then did it barely meet the teaching conditions and become the only pet in the team to learn the 9-colored divine light. Through this matter, Xiyu also realized how extraordinary Teacher Cat was. At the start, as an ordinary transcendent race, to be able to mutate and grow to the totem level. Although there was an inheritance crystal, it didn't take long for it to perfectly control the 9-colored divine light so easily. This talent was completely unique. If it weren't for the fact that Teacher Cat's will was too weak, Xiyu would really suspect that it was the reincarnation of a big boss. Even the Gem Cat suspected that it had been asking Xiyu to give it a reincarnation fruit to try. In the early days, because the Gem Cat's will was too weak, Xiyu was afraid that it would go berserk after eating the fruit, so he didn't give it to it. However, after the special training, Xiyu felt that he could give Teacher Cat a try. After all, Teacher Cat might not necessarily be able to defeat them now, let alone after the special training. Add more points. In order to increase the efficiency of adding points, Xiyu first added Ling's 9-colored divine light, Susu Sea Cleansing Spirit, and other skills. In the blink of an eye, another few days passed. The Forest King finally recovered and nervously planned to give Lu Chengyi the title assessment. At the Super Duel venue of the Battle Island. The Fire God of the Alliance, Jones, the Forest King Frog, and some record personnel, the Heavenly King of Dong Huang, Du Ruo, and the candidate, Lu Chengyi, were already present. Xiyu didn't show his face. He sat quietly on the high wall and looked at the situation inside. He had fought the Forest King because of Susu, so he had some understanding of the Forest King's strength. This Forest King should be a lucky person who accidentally broke through to the totem level with resources. In terms of super skill proficiency, it was still far from transcendent. It wasn't considered a strong expert among totems, even weaker than that Green Dragon Prince. In fact, it was even worse than the Gem Cat before it accepted the 9-colored divine light. Even the mutated Leviathan that belonged to the legend of the Tyrannical Sea could try farming it alone. It should be that beast tamers who knew that their telepathy talent was relatively weak, so the examiners sent by the Alliance weren't very strong. However, totems were totems after all. Senior Lu's side was still not too stable. After all, she was only a level 7 beast tamer. She had only contracted 6 pets, and although these 6 had all reached the Overlord level, their growth speed was not high. Most of the people who challenged title battle pets were basically level 8 beast tamers with 8 full pets. Yixing didn't succeed in the 2 challenges because he suffered a loss due to his low level. As long as he reached level 8, he definitely wouldn't have a problem. However, it wasn't like there was no chance at all. Senior Lu definitely couldn't fight a protracted battle for a day and night. Her confidence in this challenge all came from mental resonance, and this high consumption state was also an explosive skill. It would be gone after one use. Therefore, whether she could insta-kill or heavily injure her opponent and greatly reduce her opponent's battle power determined whether she could pass this assessment. As long as it's not that Xiaoyu. At this moment, the Forest King completely believed it. The beast tamer who challenged the title of telepathy wasn't the legendary Xiaoyu. It was a little girl with a straight face. Great! Croak! The Forest King had a happy expression. Come on, little girl, I'm your examiner, Lord Forest King. The Forest King's huge body stood in the arena and looked at Lu Qingyi opposite him. Today, Senior Lu was wearing a blue, white, and black cheongsam. Her long golden brown hair was swept up by a white and gold hairpin. Her aura was transcendent and high and mighty. Qingyi sure knows how to dress up today. Heavenly King Du Ruo chuckled. Heavenly King Du, this is Dong Huang's third title challenge this year, right? The fire god, Jones, had been wrangling with Dong Huang for the past 2 days. Now, he was finally going to carry out the title assessment and carry out normal work. Yes. Du Ruo nodded and said, the first 2 times were Yixing, and the examiner was the Night King of Rongguang. I can still understand Yixing, but this Dr. Lu, the fire god Jones said, she shouldn't have advanced to the legend level long ago, right? It was not long before the world competition. For the Dong Huang assessment, the information work of the fire god, Jones, naturally had to be comprehensive. Yixing was first in the contestant sequence of the Dong Huang World Tournament. Although his limelight was snatched away by Xiaoyu later, it was undeniable that as the grandson of the 3 generals, his potential, talent, and strength. Even so, Yixing couldn't pass the assessment. Chapter 1055, 1055 Telepathy Talents are Monsters, 4. 1055 Telepathy Talents are Monsters, 4. As for Lu Qingyi, a person with a telepathy talent who had just reached level 7 a few months ago, why did she come to join in the fun? It's not like it matters even if she didn't use the challenge opportunity, Du Ruo said calmly. Can't you let the Guardian of the Alliance spar? All right, of course. Fire God Jones shrugged. Dong Huang had produced a Xiaoyu. They couldn't wait to let the other legend geniuses become gods. As the 2 titled legends of Dong Huang and Shen Feng spoke, the battle between King Sen and Lu Qingyi had already begun. Buzz! 6 huge black summoning arrays appeared. Senior Lu's 6 pets were all summoned. Wind Demon Lion, Green Spirit Wind Bird, Empress Flower, Mermaid Princess, Hurricane Demon, Courtyard Sprite. The pets have actually reached the Overlord level. No wonder they dare to challenge, the fire god Jones said when he saw Lu Qingyi's pets. It improved so quickly, Heavenly King Du Ruo couldn't help but say. It was actually all Overlords so quickly. Looks like Lu Qingyi's opportunity was not bad. The relationship between Qingyi and Xiaoyu should be pretty good, right? Was it thanks to Xiaoyu? However, from the energy value, these pets were all at the normal Overlord stage. Even the energy value of the Hurricane Demon was less than 50 million. The highest Empress Flower was only 60 million. Who? The Forest King chuckled. It also sensed that his opponent wasn't strong and heaved a sigh of relief. However, opposite him, Lu Qingyi, who was wearing an elegant cheongsam and looked like a queen, had a calm expression from the beginning to the end. Use your full strength. Don't blame me for not giving you a chance, Lu Qingyi said to the Forest King. Her words stunned the Forest King. Then, it revealed an unfriendly expression. What did this candidate mean? Qingyi at this moment, Lu Qingyi's state also stunned Heavenly King Du, who was familiar with her. She didn't understand why that gentle and generous Lu Qingyi's aura suddenly changed drastically, as if she had become a different person. What do you mean? Fire God Jones was also stunned. What did that mean? On the high wall, Xiaoyu chuckled. Of course, it was to act as a queen and strive to resonate with the Empress Flower. Who? At this moment, the Forest King was just about to ask Lu Qingyi if she was all right, but in the next moment, the Forest King's expression changed. Didn't you understand my command? Lu Qingyi's hair fluttered, and her gaze was high and mighty. As Lu Qingyi finished speaking, the air around her began to hum and vibrate. Substantial spiritual power and mental strength formed blue ripples around her. At the same time, blue ripples also appeared on the body of the Empress Flower in front of Lu Qingyi. Right on the heels of that, the energy began to increase steadily. The speed of the eruption was so fast that it didn't look like a normal method at all. At this moment, the Forest King was shocked and recalled that exaggerated water slime. No, blue sea sprite. At the moment, this Empress Flower was actually Senior Lu's strongest pet. Because it was also wood element, it improved the most under Baby Ginseng's special training. It had also undergone special training to deter the memory water drop a long time ago. Its skill configuration was also very good. Obviously, as a spirit-type pet, not only could it enjoy the enhancement of mental resonance, but it could also enjoy Senior Lu's psychic strengthening. For this, in order to have a better mental resonance with the Empress Flower, Lu Qingyi played the role of a queen for many days with difficulty. It was difficult for her. One of the derived skills of Dao Proficiency Psychic, Spirit Strengthening. Second skill of Dao Proficiency Psychic Derivation, Spirit Link. One of the derived uses of the telepathy talent, Psychic Resonance. In addition, the eruption of the divine bloodline contained in the Empress Flower, Mythical Revival. Boom! In the extreme strengthening mode, the Empress Flower's cold red eye stared at the Forest King. Its energy level quickly exceeded 100 million and continued to accelerate, reaching an unprecedented height. Soon, the spirit wave formed a strong storm that swept through the venue like a tornado. The aura of the Empress Flower itself underwent a tremendous change. This aura, the expressions of the fire god Jones, the Forest King Frog, and Heavenly King Do changed drastically. It was not ordinary totem power. The violent spirit wave made many people present swallow their saliva, not understanding what had happened. In the next moment, the deterrent wrapped around it was so strong that the Frog King was shocked. The double pressure of divine might and max-level deterrence felt the supreme pressure coming from this move. It was stunned. It actually couldn't control its body for an instant and was frightened by the other party's king's might. Something was wrong. Wait, little girl, aren't you a telepathy talent? Oh God, what's this? Jones, why would I believe you? The Forest King shouted. What the hell was this telepathy talent? The Forest King's expression changed drastically. Was Jones an idiot? Dong Huang had a Shiyu who could upgrade telepathy to a divine-level talent, so it wasn't impossible for another person to appear. Why didn't he do his work well in advance and do his information? It knew it shouldn't have come. It couldn't dodge. The Forest King felt that it couldn't dodge this powerful attack. It, who had just recovered from its injuries, felt that after this battle, regardless of whether it won or lost, it would be King heavily injured again. This job wasn't easy at all. His mentality collapsed. He didn't want to fight anymore. It suspected that the Alliance was deliberately scamming it. Quack! The Forest King mobilized its strength to resist with difficulty. The strength of the deterrent suppressed its performance. However, the super psychic power that erupted was like the combination of a tsunami and a super vortex. As soon as King Sen touched it, he felt that his entire body had suffered countless impacts and was about to fall apart. Boom! Half of the Forest King's body was flattened and he was directly sent flying under the super psychic power. Quack! Its body caved in, and the Forest King widened its eyes in disbelief. This attack could be released by an overlord? The huge pain in its body made the Forest King's consciousness blur as it hit the protective wall. Crack! A crack appeared in the wall. The Forest King slid down, its frog legs swayed, and its eyelids twitched with difficulty. Impossible! Fire God Jones opened his mouth wide. 5 of the 6 pets didn't attack. They only used one to send the totem-level Forest King flying? Was the Forest King still recovering from its restoration? Isn't she a telepathy talent? Jones shouted. This Heavenly King Du Ruo also looked at Lu Qingyi, who was standing on the arena like a queen, with a shocked expression. They didn't understand what had happened to Qingyi. That power just now, what was going on? Could it be? She recalled Shi Yu, who had come with Lu Qingyi. Aya! Aya! At this moment, only Shi Yu, who was on the wall, shook his head regretfully. Unfortunately, it couldn't insta-kill the Forest King or affect its movements, Shi Yu said regretfully. On his shoulder, 11, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, and the others also watched the battle together and shook their heads regretfully. In this attack, Senior Lu and the Empress Flower had exhausted all their strength. Whether the remaining 5 pets could drag down the Forest King determined whether Senior Lu could obtain the title of Surpasser. Unfortunately, with Ling's perception, the Forest King's current state wasn't that serious. It could still display more than 70% of its battle power. In the next battle, Senior Lu was in a very dangerous situation. It was indeed a gamble-like battle. However, woo-woo-woo? 11 and the others looked at the Forest King in confusion. What's this guy doing? They sensed that the Forest King, who clearly still had most of its strength, had been lying on the ground and refused to get up. It seemed to be pretending to be dead. On the other side, Senior Lu and the Empress Flower were really at the end of their rope. Instead, they were forcefully standing. A sharp contrast. This guy Shi Yu couldn't help but stand up. The corners of his mouth twitched. Don't tell me it's afraid to fight anymore. Does it have any professional ethics? What's wrong with this Alliance examiner? Playing dead? On the arena, when Lu Qingyi saw this, she curled her lips and said, "Did I let you fall? Get up! Everyone, mythical revival!" Roar! Lu Qingyi's pet directly attacked the Forest King, who was pretending to be dead. Shi Yu even patted his forehead. She and the Empress Flower have already erupted with all strength, so stop being so arrogant. She'd be beaten up. Chapter 1056, 1056 Attacking Demigod Level Battle Power. 1056 Attacking Demigod Level Battle Power. I can't understand. When Lu Qingyi attacked the Forest King again, Heavenly King Du Ruo found it difficult to understand. It was really because Lu Qingyi's state today had completely exceeded her understanding. I don't understand. Beside her, the fire god Jones cursed. Forest King, what are you doing? His eyes were still wide open. But at that moment, the Forest King felt that it was the most innocent one. It's too much. Seeing that the opponent didn't plan to stop attacking, the Forest King, who was pretending to be dead, immediately dragged its painful body and shouted loudly in a daze. How dare you underestimate me? This made the expression of the fire god Jones better. Fortunately, it didn't insta-kill the Forest King. He didn't want to see another monster like Shi Yu who could instantly kill totems with a single pet. But even so, the injured Forest King gave Jones a bad feeling. Among Lu Qingyi's 6 pets, the Wind Demon Lion, the Green Phoenix Bird, the Hurricane Demon, and the Courtyard Sprite directly mobilized the power of nature collectively and created the Wind Domain, modifying the venue into a wind environment. At the same time, the first 3 pets attacked the Forest King and blew a storm. In the domain, the Courtyard Sprite possessed the weak Lu Qingyi and used the characteristics of the elves to let the Beast Tamer recover his physical strength through the power of nature. However, because of the possession, Lu Qingyi's mental resonance with the Empress Flower was interrupted. Wu tilde tilde tilde? As for the Mermaid Princess, she was equivalent to half a healer. She used nourishing moves to help the Empress Flower recover its strength. Although a round of eruptions consumed most of Lu Qingyi and the Empress's physical strength, they had clearly found some remedies for this situation. Just as Shi Yu had judged, the next battle was the key. Boom! On the Forest King's side, the substantialized green poisonous sound wave immediately swept towards the 3 pets like a tsunami. The storm swept up by the Wind Demon Lion, the Green Phoenix, and the Hurricane Demon was first obliterated by the sound wave. Then, the sound wave hit the 3 pets and sent them flying. All right, the fire god Jones shouted. This was more like it. The collision just now didn't make sense at all. This time, it was much more scientific. Not good. It's poison. Heavenly King Duruo frowned. It looked like that wasn't Chingy's normal strength just now. This was bad. This Forest King still had strength. Who? At this moment, the Forest King looked at this scene with lingering fears. This time, it felt like a totem. Because it was nervous, it used all its strength in this attack. The effect was clearly very good. It instantly killed 3 overlords in an explosive state. Roar! Zhu, Ling, the 3 pets flew backward. Green stripes appeared on the Wind Demon Lion, the Green Phoenix Bird, and the Hurricane Demon. Because it was mainly a poison element attack, and the sound wave was slowed down by the combination storm, the normal injuries on their bodies were not serious. It was just that if the toxin was not removed in time, their lives might be in danger. Seeing that his opponent had already been poisoned, the Forest King had already recovered its emotions. It looked at Lu Qingyi and the others who were recovering. Ha ha, that attack just now was the eruption of overload, right? I see. Your normal strength is still at the overlord level. Now that the 3 of them have been poisoned, admit defeat. If you drag it out, it'll be. As soon as the Forest King finished speaking, blue water rings appeared out of thin air on the Wind Demon Lion, the Green Phoenix, and the Hurricane Demon. The most important and serious toxins on their bodies quickly dissipated. After adjusting their state, they immediately stabilized their bodies and locked onto the Forest King again. This scene directly made the Forest King widen its eyes. What are you talking about? Lu Qingyi said. My Wind Demon Lion has the evil suppressing lion bloodline, my Green Phoenix Bird has the Phoenix bloodline, and my Hurricane Demon is an elemental creature. They all have pretty good resistance to poison. Most importantly, my Mermaid Princess is a student of the Blue Sea Sprite. Poison is just a small skill for them. Wind Demon Lion, counterattack! Croak! At this moment, when he heard the words Blue Sea Sprite, the Forest King's eyes widened, and his mentality collapsed again. He had clearly just regained his advantage, and his warpath immediately decreased by 20%. His poison was useless? At this moment, when he heard Lu Qingyi say that his water element pet was a student of the Blue Sea Sprite, the fire god Jones was also stunned. He had a bad feeling. On the other hand, Heavenly King Duruo's expression was extremely happy. What? In this way, they might be able to continue fighting? The Forest King's strongest method was a wood and poison dual-element sound wave attack. For enemies who weren't good at detoxification, even top-notch totems would have a headache from being poisoned. However, for enemies who knew how to detoxify, even if it was at the Overlord level, it would still give the Forest King a headache. Obviously, the Mermaid Princess cultivated by Susu was the top cleansing expert among overlords. Ning. On Shiyu's head, Susu was very smug. Fortunately, it had foresight. In the past half a month, it had mainly been supplementing the Mermaid Princess with cleansing abilities. Don't be happy too early, Shiyu said. Even if the effect of the poison is greatly reduced, the opponent is still a totem. Master, you're clearly smiling the most, Ling couldn't help but say. After all, it's possible to witness the birth of a new titled legend in Donghuang, Shiyu said. Next, what Senior has to do is use all means to delay the Forest King. As long as she can catch her breath and activate a second telepathy. It won't end the battle by barely resisting the Forest King, but by general. Chapter 1057, 1057 Attacking Demigod Level Battle Power, 2. 1057 Attacking Demigod Level Battle Power, 2. 11. Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, Ling, Susu, and the others looked at the duel arena, even more nervous than fighting themselves. Half a day later. In a study room surrounded by sandalwood in the headquarters of the Beast Tamer Association, the president of the Donghuang Association, Lin Xiao, was quietly handling many international documents. In the quiet environment, an alarm-like mechanical life form suddenly lit up on the table. Its screen was like a cell phone turning on, and a clown-like profile picture appeared. President Lin, President Lin. What's wrong? President Lin stopped what he was doing and looked at the mechanical life form. The mechanical life form said, "The title challenge of the legend beast tamer, Lu Qingyi, has ended." How was the battle? President Lin continued to deal with the documents and didn't pay much attention. Yixing's previous 2 failures in the challenge had already made him calm. Lu Qingyi's strength was inferior to Yixing, so he didn't have much hope. He treated it as giving the young people a chance to train and test their strength. Congratulations! Legend beast tamer Lu Qingyi has successfully passed the assessment of the title of Surpasser and become the current 10th titled legend of Dong Huang. Oh. Passed. Swoosh! President Lin suddenly looked up with a look of disbelief and said, "What did you say?" Lu Qingyi successfully lasted a day and night under the Guardian of the Alliance? How was this possible? Lu Qingyi was only a new legend. In Dong Huang, dozens of old legends who had accumulated more EXP than her for many years couldn't do it. A new legend did it? At the moment, including Shiyu, Dong Huang only had 9 living legends who had passed the title challenge. Although there were also some old antiques who didn't like to show their faces and didn't participate in the Alliance's title challenge, there were very few such people after all. Without a doubt, no matter what method Lu Qingyi used to pass the title challenge, her strength was enough to rank in the top 20 of Dong Huang's beast-taming domain. No, according to the information, Dr. Lu Qingyi defeated the Alliance's guardian, the Forest King. When the Forest King lost its ability to fight, although Dr. Lu Qingyi herself was already unconscious, there was still a pet with consciousness. According to the rules, it was victory. What? President Lin was shocked again. Defeated the Alliance's guardian? What a joke! He said, "What exactly is going on?" In the battle, Dr. Lu Qingyi used a special psychic skill twice. At the same time, her telepathy talent has also been converted into a special talent that can increase battle power. These 2 eruptions are the key to her victory. President Lin was completely at a loss. Soon, he recalled that Lu Qingyi had been undergoing special training with Shiyu recently. Her telepathy had been converted into battle talent? Could it be? At the same time, on the battle island, Shiyu picked up the call. President Lin. Shiyu, Lu Qingyi passed the title challenge? I heard that she's unconscious now. How's the situation? I'm overdrawn, but it's not a big deal. I'm already awake. I can recover in a while. President Lin said, "That's good. What's with Lu Qingyi's mental talent? Did you do it?" Shiyu smiled and said, "No, Senior Lu successfully developed it with the talent bead herself. It's called psychic resonance, and it's not inferior to the psychic domain. However, in the past half a month, I've indeed been working hard to help Senior Lu increase her strength. President Lin, I happen to want to apply for something. Next, I plan to go abroad for a period of time. In a few months or a year, a new genius has already appeared. I've completed your mission." President Lin was slightly stunned. Wait a minute. He had been wanted by Yunnan for less than a month. Didn't they agree not to go out anymore? Why was he going out again? However, Lu Qingyi's situation indeed concerned President Lin more at the moment. Heart resonance? A talent that could help Lu Qingyi, a new legend, defeat totems. Let her rest well. I'll go over later too, President Lin said. After hanging up, Shiyu entered the White Ward again. At this moment, Senior Lu was still lying weakly. Her physique was still too weak and not as strong as Shiyu's, causing baby Ginseng to not dare to directly nourish her, afraid that her body wouldn't be able to withstand it. Is it President Lin? After Shiyu entered, Senior Lu looked at Shiyu, who was sitting on a chair. Yes, President Lin wants to come and take a look at you, a new titled legend. Congratulations, Dong Huang's 10th titled legend. Ah. Lu Qingyi still had a headache. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have needed a second mental resonance. This one of mine should be the weakest titled legend, right? Shiyu smiled and said, No. Senior, you haven't contracted your 7th pet yet. After training for a while, it won't be weak. Although the consumption of psychic resonance is high, the enhancement effect is comparable to the strengthening talent of a level 8 beast tamer. Believe in yourself. By the way, this is for you. Shiyu took out a spatial jade. Ooh? Spirit accumulation jade. That one I gave you? Lu Qingyi looked at this. Wasn't this the resource she gave Shiyu to nurture the power of the demon god? Yes, there are nutritional supplements created by the ginseng baby inside. I feel that you'll need them in the future. Lu Qingyi smiled and said, "Thank you. It's all thanks to you in the past half a month. Otherwise, forget about defeating the Forest King, it would have been difficult to even last a round against it." Lu Qingyi knew very well that it was all thanks to Shiyu that her strength could double in the past half a month. The effect of the psychic resonance developed by the World Tree Fruit was several times stronger than before. Her pets had also cultivated new short-kill skills with Shiyu's pets. If not for these, it would definitely not have become so strong. Chapter 1058, 1058 Attacking Demigod Level Battle Power, 3. 1058 Attacking Demigod Level Battle Power, 3. You're welcome. Shiyu chuckled. It didn't take long for President Lin to arrive at the Battle Island. President Lin was naturally very happy to see another super genius appear in Dong Huang. Even when Shiyu said that he wanted to train again, President Lin wasn't that worried. In any case, with Shiyu's trump card, he wouldn't die. He could do whatever he wanted. After obtaining permission, Shiyu was happy. He stayed on the Battle Island for about 2 more days. After Senior Lu completely recovered, Shiyu directly set off from the Battle Island to the location of the Space-Time Dragon Vein. This Space-Time Dragon Vein was located on an isolated island with a harsh environment, so there was no life habitat on it at all. The Dragon God only discovered the Space-Time Dragon Vein hidden under this isolated island by accident. Although the Dragon God didn't tell Shiyu the location of the Space-Time Dragon Vein, Chi knew where the Space-Time Dragon Vein was. Therefore, Shiyu and the others arrived first. After setting off from the Battle Island, Shiyu rode the Green Dragon buggy and prayed to be a guide. The group began to run wildly above the ocean. Left. That way, right. Chi tugged at Shiyu's clothes and floated in the sky like a pendant. After a period of time, Shiyu and the others locked onto an island with cliffs at the edge of the island. According to the environment, that was the Space and Time Island. This place was already very far from Dong Huang and Dragon Palace City, but it was relatively close to the factions in the Infinite Sea. The environment near this island was indeed not very good. Huge vortexes frequently appeared on the sea, and the sky was always grey. From time to time, storms would blow, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. In this situation, even if a legend arrived, it wouldn't be safe. Shiyu and the others carefully landed on the island. Apart from being a little cold, a little desolate, and a little chaotic, there was nothing special about the island. "Is it here?" Shiyu asked. On his shoulder, Chi, who was floating, nodded excitedly and said, "Yes, this is the place. The space where the Space-Time Dragon Vein is under the island." "Lucky," Chi said in surprise. At this time, the space-time tide is in a relatively stable state. I can directly go in and absorb the power of the Dragon Vein. If I'm lucky, it will take about a year for me to awaken space-time travel to the quasi-divine skill stage. Moreover, because it's close to the mythical revival, the power of the space-time Dragon Vein has almost recovered. It's much more abundant than the dried-up Dragon Vein I saw at the start. With its power, after the skill recovers, it can quickly undergo the initial space-time transmigration. Roar! Charge! 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 Buggy said excitedly. There were actually other pets riding everywhere on its body. 11. Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, Susu, Ling, and the others were also extremely excited. "It's going to take a year?" "It's so long," Shiyu said worriedly. "Speaking of which, why is your willpower level still low? Did you slack off during training?" Little G has medium resistance. Do you know how tempting it is for an archaeologist to transmigrate? Chi immediately puffed up her face. No. Apart from not fighting every day like Little G, I've also done its training quests, she argued reasonably. At the same time, he also summoned Little G, Ducky, and Little Purple. As soon as Little G and Ducky were summoned, they wanted to fight. However, when they suddenly saw that the big brothers and sisters of the first team were all here, they immediately stopped. Roar! The weather is pretty good. Little G said. Quack! The smell of the sea. The duck stuck its head out and looked at the sea. Am I so tired, so hungry, Little Z muttered. At this moment, all the members of Shiyu's first and second teams were on the Space and Time Island. Although the environment here is a little poor, we can stay in the ruins and the beast-taming space. I've decided. For the next period of time, we'll train here, Shiyu said to everyone. I've prepared sufficient resources and brought all my assets. Materials were not enough. Shiyu also wanted the development EXP of Emperor Wu's top-notch fusion talent. Master, I advise you to be kind, Ling looked worried. It was not a problem for it to fight Emperor Wu, but the problem was that when everyone fused into a mecha, the one who would be beaten up would be it, Ling. It had just finished its bitter cultivation and stepped into the threshold of the demigod at legendary level, and it was here to challenge the #1 ruthless person in history. Was it serious?